Alright, what's up y'all? My name's Tim Ream. I'm here today on the 96th day of the spring cut. I'm going to be doing leg day today. I can tell you right now that this leg routine that I've come up with completely demolishes your legs. Every single time I've done it, I've been sore for like 4 freaking days, especially glutes and hamstrings. Anyways, that being said, I don't necessarily have any topics that I want to cover. I'm sure I'll get into a little something. Kind of just want to keep the leg workout first, and if I get into some talking about whatever's going on, then I'll get into that. But we're going to start out with seated leg curls for hamstrings, work our way up to the glutes, and then around to the quads. So that's kind of going to be the progression. So yeah, stick with me and let's do this shit.
Yeah, we still might do that. Or get Emily, who knows the most about me of any human on the planet, to interview me.
Yeah.
So.
I had this switched up to where I was doing lying hamstring curls, where I do feel like they put, like whenever you're in the lying position, I feel like they put more strain and more of a resistance on the hamstring. These seated ones, I don't know, I feel like I've gotten pretty used to them and gotten used to the movement and learned how to kind of contract on it and do some good squeezes and all that, get a good stretch. So I'm going to kind of do that today instead of lying. Just to kind of just experiment with it too a little bit, feel like if it might be a little better for this whole progression or whatever. So it's been invaluable. I can't tell you how much just filming all of this process has been, because you can actually go back and look at the footage and see where your form could have been better in this exercise, and you can actually start getting down to the bottom of, I could have been slower about that negative, I could have been better about the stretch there, the eccentric, and just kind of your range of motion and stuff. So it's been super good just going through the footage to be able to tell and improve your overall process. We're going to do a couple warm-up sets here just to get the knees good, and then we'll go into the heavier sets. Kind of I don't want to say got into it with somebody in the comments. Here's the thing, whenever you meet somebody, you introduce yourself first. You don't just launch into a freaking rant and start saying fuck you and whatever, So, I'd rather make friends with people. So, whenever they come off like that, I try to de-escalate it and be like, dude, chill, like, ha, and then just kind of go into it. But whenever you disrespect me a second time, fuck you. And the thing is, like, we were talking about, it was over a short video, which was like 15 seconds, and it was talking about science and scientific studies and this stuff. And I basically said that they wasted a bunch of money on their experiment, basically, on their study. And whatever, dude. Anyways. Eat a clean diet. So I've had recently on my mind the whole thing about scientific bodybuilding. So you're seeing a lot of this stuff pop up on the feeds now, especially with YouTube, talking about, oh, this is science-based experiments, that are, like, produce the most muscle growth and all this shit. And it's just like, dude, I feel like there's so many studies that are changing all the time that whenever you do settle on something, then within a couple weeks, they got something else out. And it's always changing, and just the sheer amount of work you have to put in to do all the research on all these studies to arrive at the right conclusion. I feel like you could have went in there and just figured out the proper range of motion for yourself, So the thing is, I feel like the way around, and I believe in science and all that stuff, obviously, but like, I'm saying it changes so much that one thing was a fad, and now a few months later, now that's actually going to kill you. It's actually not beneficial for your health, and you need to be doing it this way now. And it's just like, enough with the bullshit. I want something that's actually going to work. And so I feel like you just got to get in here for yourself, stay out of the weeds, and fucking cross-reference it with the mirror, strength gains, and just get in here and start doing this stuff for yourself, man. And also, if you can just find somebody that's got the results that you're after and then go copy their routine and get their information, dude, it's going to be just fine. If you're trying to go to like Mr. Olympia or some shit like that, then yeah, you probably want to get a little bit more scientific with it. But for the average person, it ain't that big of a deal. Like, the people who are actually looking for a lot of science-based stuff, what they're actually looking for is a magic bullet. They're looking for that perfect exercise that's going to get them out of a lot of work and cut down a lot of time, and it's going to put them ahead of the rest, and it's a magic exercise. And the magic exercise doesn't exist. There might be one that's a little better, but whenever we're talking about gains, we're talking about, okay, you're making 0.8 versus a 0.9. Like, there's such a minuscule difference in some of these movements that it's just like, what's the fucking point? You're not going to get that much out of it anyways at the end of it. So, you know, there's no easier, softer way. The easier, softer way is just getting in here and doing the hard work. Very broad thing where it's like, oh, science-based lifting, and I just think you have to figure out a way to be able to sift and sort through all of that information, dude. And the only way I think you can is by coming in here and doing this stuff yourself, because if you can do that and start getting results, then you know how to get results every single time, and it doesn't matter what new study comes out, you know how to get those results. So I think it's important to just get in here for yourself, and you know, if you hear something that makes sense, you know, I'm obviously not against studies, but, you know, some of it's just like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, you're like, a calorie is a calorie. I'm sorry, dude, a calorie is not a calorie. Like, I can eat a Snickers bar or I can eat chicken breast. You're going to tell me a calorie is a calorie? No. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. There's more beneficial calories than others. Some of the shit doesn't even fucking make sense. So what I'm saying is, like, if something makes sense, then it's like, okay, I can see that. That sounds plausible. I'll see if I can bring that into the gym and work it and see if it works. But if it doesn't work, then the experiment goes out of the window and I go revert back to what has been working for me. All right, I'm going to get into some working sets here.
Here's the problem with all of you too. Listen, your problem isn't that you don't know what to do. Okay? Your problem is that you can do it, which is what the point of the program is. And what this program does is it takes all the components that are basically in every single fucking diet program ever, and it forces you to do them over the course of time without fail for a long enough time that it actually changes what's going on in your mind so that you are now aware, because that's what really happens on 75 Hard. It's not that it like rewires your brain, it's that it creates awareness to when you're negotiating with yourself, and you start to recognize that negotiation is what's costing you all these things that you actually want in your life. And when you can become aware of when you're negotiating things that you don't know.
All right, I'm going to do one more warm-up set here, and then I'm going to get into the heavy set to failure.
Then what you're burning, right? You don't know that you're supposed to lift weights. You don't know that you're supposed to move your body. Like, we all know those things. That's common knowledge. But what you don't really understand is that knowing what to do and doing what you know to do are two different skill sets. And the skill set that this program targets and the problem that it solves is the ability to adhere to whatever plan that you decide to put in front of you, which makes you infinitely powerful.
So you touched on, you know, the old Andy, let's say the pre-75 Hard Andy. So your mindset from like 2010 to 2016.
Oh yeah.
It's the up and down.
All right, good and warm. I'll go ahead and say that. And the reason I kind of went back to the seated leg curls is because I've been doing leg curls and, you know, leg workouts for years and different exercises, but it ain't really until you can get to a point where you can kind of start perfecting a movement. And so I feel like I've really learned how to get a good stretch, a good contraction. And the thing is, from one machine to the next, it might be different. So I've kind of really just started to get used to the seated leg curls on this, you know, this machine here. So whenever I switch it up to the line, I feel like I kind of got out of a rhythm, and I just feel like since I've gotten this movement down a little better, then I kind of prefer just to stick with it, because I feel like I can really get the most out of it. Like, you got a quality aspect rather than having to maybe do quantity, or I don't know, you're just getting more out of it.
Like, how many times, like, remember the outfit that I used to wear? That, what?
Yeah, you wear your t-shirt or your big hoodie, and then you wear your baggy, long cargo shorts.
What, and you tell people what shit.
So yeah, these shorts you would only wear, they would only wear you had because you couldn't, and I didn't know this, it's the only pair you could fit it.
That's right.
And that's why you wear those. And I would tease because one day when we first met, I said, oh, I like the shorts. And you wore them every time I saw you. And I was like, okay, I told you I liked them. I didn't mean like you wear them every time. I thought he was like, man, like I'm glad you like them. I'm gonna keep wearing them. I didn't realize finally those are the fucking clothes he had to finish. And so as the shorts would start to tear or get worn out, I patched them. I patched those motherfuckers for like 2 years. And so finally we had to have like a proper burial. And we only knew one pair of shorts that he had.
Those were plaid.
Yeah,
And then the new ones were
camouflage.
Yeah.
And finally, yeah, they were getting so thin and worn down, the plaid ones, that he switched to camo ones. And he wore those, and I wore those like several times. And then finally,
Once you get into that movement here too, especially on those sets of failure, if you can keep that constant tension on the muscle and just take off just a little bit as you're going through that movement, just to make sure you're still operating and pushing as hard as you possibly can on the negative and positive part of that movement. Really kind of milk the most out of that movement there. All right, gonna come over here to just regular standing leg curls. Do a couple sets on each side, and we'll move into our next exercise. Like I said, it's gonna be going from the hamstring to the glute, and then work our way back around to the front, to the quads. So yeah, we'll do finishing movements with quads. Each exercise we're doing is kind of starting to warm up for the next one. I'm going to do 2 hamstring workouts. Then I'm going to go into Romanian deadlift, which is still a hamstring workout, but it's starting to work up into that glute area. Then we go to Bulgarian split squat, which is very glute and kind of quad intensive. Go to squats, and then we're starting to go pretty much the whole leg and get those quads really fired up, and then we go into the leg extensions for quads and some single leg movements too for quads. So it's basically just, I don't know, I feel like just a very, very good progression I've arrived at as far as how the exercises are laid out in this leg day. So I'm really excited to get in here whenever I do it. Today I was dreading it because I knew how intense it is and how well it works and how sore I'm gonna be. So it's like, damn. So you kind of dread the workout a little bit just because you know how intense it'll be, but you know the results from it are gonna be well worth it. So it's like you want the results, but you don't want to go through the work. It's like, whatever, that's how it works, I guess.
But it didn't like feel natural. It was forced. Does that make sense? Like, it was a very difficult decision. And that's actually what led me to understanding that this is a mental problem. This is not a physical fucking problem, right? This is a problem that people have to fix in their minds, not in their body. Because I'd already kind of fixed it in my body, but my mind wasn't fixed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's sort of what created the motivation for me to take it past the level of just physical to the mental. And this is why a lot of people have so much difficulty understanding the mental. This is a mental toughness program and not a diet, right? Or a challenge. It's a program. It's a program that you put yourself through to make yourself think about things in a different way than you thought about them previously in your life. And this is also why people who do the program the right way see drastic change. And people who don't, on day 76, they're going right back to their old habits because they compromise through the whole thing, all right? And they're pretending because it's a trend that they actually did it. And the reality is if you actually did it, you are terrified at the end to make changes because you just recognize how much progress you made. So,
crazy thing is like in 75 days, there's like 10,000 battles. Mental battles.
bro, it's every day.
Like,
Yeah.
multiple a day.
Yeah.
I know that's a super important.
Yeah.
And I think what you said about
Get those hamstrings good and pre-exhausted before we go into the heavier sets on these. Maybe do one more warm-up set here. Get into that heavy set after that.
You're not, you're not just, it's like, let's say you have a house, it's falling down, like the foundation's crumbling, you can't just put fresh paint on it and new siding and call it new. The inside, the actual, literal, the foundation is crumbling. That's like the mental state of it. Like, you're not fixing what really needs to be fixed first, because if you fix the inside, the outside will happen as well. And I think that's the biggest thing why I love it at the program as well, because it's all like a mental thing. Because with Sloan's accident, I started studying harder because it was a fucking very hard time, and I knew I needed that to snap myself out of it. I could care less about any sort of results that I would get. It was just I needed that mental, that mental focus. It's so powerful.
Yeah, dude, I think the main thing that most people need to recognize is that the state of your life on the outside legitimately reflects the state of your mental state. And we can fake it. Like we can diet and lose weight for a wedding or an event, or we can be productive in business. Like I was already very successful in business at this time. It wasn't right. Yeah, but where would I have been if I figured this out earlier? That's where you gotta think about it. So when you start to realize that that's the actual problem, and that once you fix that problem, now you're able to do all of these other things with literal ease, right? Like without you now become a person that you always looked at and you thought, why do they have these things that I don't? Why is it easy for them? It's not easy for me. Oh, they have better genetics. No, they fucking don't. They got better habits. And they build better skill sets in their own brain. Alright? Now, if we're going to split the hair on genetics, sure, some people have better genetics than other people. But you gotta just tell yourself that everybody has better genetics than you. It's not true. And you know how I know you do that? Because that's what I used to do.
So let's talk about the professional aspect of it. So 2019, you're building this headquarters here. So we're moving headquarters. We were moving into our new house. Our RTA Syndicate was a year old, and we were having, we moved into our house on May 1st, and we had 250 people at our house for a big party. So we were going through all of that. You were running us to.
I totally did not even count on those, so I don't know how many I should do on this side. It was like 23, I think, but I could be wrong.
I know.
Bigger and bigger and bigger.
I know.
What other fad is on that?
A fad is 195 days. I think I read an article several months ago that said, what is the date of fad? And I think it was like 195. I was like, we're kind of stretching that quote fad out there. So like, because that's the thing, is like when people hear this, sometimes they're like,
That picture, Robin.
yeah.
That was a picture.
Yeah, so that was actually when you met Mike Cunningham when we met him in New York.
No, I met Michael.
Well, that's when I was. Yeah, and came back 6 months. Yeah, I remember that because that was your infamous polo, and I had to keep that thing washed every day. I think we had 2 of them revolving. High quality meats in New York. So when people are always like, well, I've got this going on, I've got this going on. The thing is that I know you said in the podcast that you're busy with people and
Alright, start hitting Romanian Deadlift here. I am going to build a platform to stand on, just so I can get a little bit farther into that stretch for hamstrings. If I get like a platform that's like at least another maybe 4 inches, 6 or 8 inches, I feel like it's going to be really beneficial in the bottom part of that movement. And obviously, the bottom part of that movement is the stretched part, so I am going to build it. I just got to remember to take the time to do it. I didn't think about it until I got in here today. I'm like, damn, that'd be nice to have that platform. So it might take me a few weeks to actually get it into motion, but all right, we are like really warmed up right now. So I'm gonna start moving pretty rapidly from one exercise to the next, just to make sure I take advantage of the, pre-exhaustion and all that stuff. So.
Tell yourself why that gear matters, and why that food is okay right now, and why it's okay to walk around at 350 pounds. They tell themselves stories about other people's success the same way. And so when I try to tell, like the reason I don't talk about this shit is because nobody would believe it anyway. Like if I told them that, you know what people would say? Looking for someone promoting hustle culture. Well, guess what, man? If you want to build a fucking massive motherfucking company, in fact, a whole bunch of them, you're gonna have to.
Some of this might be a little bit boring. It's going to be really repetitive. I'm going to be posting a lot of my workouts. A lot of them are going to be the same amount of time, same amount of workouts, same amount of reps, same amount. Not going to be changing it up a whole lot, but the thing is, people don't realize that success is actually boring. It's doing those boring everyday things that you know you're supposed to be doing day in and day out. And it's just consistency. So really, I want people to see me whenever I'm in my successful place in life. I'm jacked, I'm ripped, I'm rich, all this stuff. And I can point back and say, look at all those workouts I did. There's fucking 3,000 of them on YouTube. Like that's consistency. That's what it takes, day in and day out. So it might be boring, but this is part of the process, man.
They're not talking about balance. They're not talking about their journaling and their affirmations and their morning routine and all this shit. They're people who wake the fuck up and go in and crush every single day at a high level. And that's what I'm competing against. And so for me to even be on that level, because I'm not so, none of these people, by the way, are some gifted people. These are people who earned these skill sets. themselves when they look at that.
Okay, I'd usually go up weight a little more for the sake of time. I just took that one to failure. Some 20 decent reps there. Alright, I'm gonna move into the Bulgarian split squat. At least I think that's what it's called. Start to get into the glutes and hamstrings and start basically working our way up for this squat. Weaken all that stuff back there, pre-exhausted all real good. So whenever we go to squat, it's just gonna hit home that much more on those body parts. So these I would say are probably an advanced movement. It's kind of a lot going on, balancing, trying to contract, holding the weight at the same time. So if you're kind of a novice or rookie, try it with no weight at first. Get your form down a little bit. You got to do that for a couple of exercises, just do body weight, or for a couple workouts and just do body weight. Then, you know, just everybody's at different places. So wherever you're at, but if you can fit this into your routine, I'm telling you, it's a good warm up and finisher for glutes and hamstrings.
With the shorts on, with the polo on, and you've got a whole beer in your hand, holding it up, and it's crazy to think about that, because like, you know, when you're around someone all the time, you kind of forget those things. Like sometimes Andy and I will text pictures back and forth together, like from the old days, and we're like, damn, we look bad, because like we were drinking, you could tell we had like that drinking face, like that bloated face, and
Dude, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like those people are.
You want a little warm up set with these?
That's just embarrassing.
well, and I think, you know, you're talking about performing better here, but I think almost nearly everybody in this group has completed 75 hard at least one time. And I know there's a lot of people in the 75 hard, the official like Facebook group that we have, that, and people that I know as well, they get actually their whole teams on board. Like they make it a whole team culture building exercise.
It should be a prerequisite hiring anyway.
It is.
Should.
The people that I know that have done that have, you know,
Seen Chris Bumstead doing these with a 150-pound dumbbell. Like, Jesus, dude. Fucking grip strength right there is strong. Just grip strength, to me, that's impressive. But it's a hard fucking movement. I mean, you would think in that downward position, you're working a lot of the quad and the glute. But really, you got a massive stretch going on here. Whenever you get down in that bottom position here, you got a lot of different stuff activating. And I'll tell you, if I would have tried to do this, which I actually did try to do it, but I was doing it like body weight and like very relatively low weight, but I'm doing a little bit of a different variation now. And I can tell, you could, once you like get your leg up there and you're moving, like I was on the verge of almost sciatica right there. I still got some strengthening to do in the core and lower back and hips and glutes areas, but I'm good still. But like you can tell, it can get you fucking tweaked pretty fast. So it is probably definitely more technical movement.
If you will. So kind of explain those just a little bit more. Kind of, I know you said that as far as the Live Hard program, but the phases, those are kind of like your fine tuning and tweaking.
Yeah. So people have to understand, like, it's set up and structured intentionally for intentional reasons. And the new book coming out, the book on mental toughness, that comes out, I think, this year. You and I. But that book explains the phases and the mental toughness, why it's necessary, how you develop it, and then it gives you the full psychology of the program in the second part of the book. But basically, 75 hard is the first 7 days. This is where you're going to do 75 hard. It's going to be extremely difficult. It's going to be extremely sore. But if you do it, it's going to change your life. You have to realize.
Catch my breath a little bit. We'll go into this, the squats. 1 or 2 warm-up sets and a heavy set. I've been staying basically in that bottom range of motion. And really just kind of driving home that bottom range of motion. I feel like if you ever watch people who are doing a lot of weight, you'll see them go down to a certain point and then get back up because they instinctively know if they go any further, they're not going to be able to get back up. And they're going to go past their center of gravity. So, I mean, really, the top of that movement is not going to be near as effective as in the bottom of the movement. I mean, you're literally going ass to grass and then right up to the point where it's going to hit the center of gravity and tip over. So just right in that range of motion is the hardest part. I mean, that's where the most weight's bearing down on your legs. So I try to stick with those parts of the movements when I think about it. And especially on the squat here, I've been being a little bit more conscious about staying in that range for a more prolonged period of time. just to give that much more of a stimulus on the muscles because there's that much more weight bearing down. Breath recovered.
I failed it hard for 2 years. I failed it on phase 3 because it's a lot of work. And basically for 30 days, you're dedicating your entire life to the program because of the amount of shit it takes. You have to be really fine-tuned to finish that part of it. But phase 3 is to be done the 30 days prior to the initial start date of 75 hard the year before. All right, so you begin the year with 75 hard, end the year with phase 3, and then in between the 2 days of
I am dreading this movement right now. Had a lot of weather going on here, a lot of rain, very windy. Wouldn't have made a very good filming conditions. Even though I'm in my garage, the wind would have still been whipping in here, rain. Audio wise, it would have fucking sucked. I would have done legs like, not yesterday, but the day before, and back today, and I swapped those around, and I did back at the gym. So I'm doing legs today, but next week I'll be back on the same rotation, weather permitting. That being said, I'm really fucking dreading these squats right now. I don't want to fucking do them. I'm gonna do them, but there could be a caloric thing too. Bumped my calories down again, about 15, 16, 1700 range. So, I mean, it could be a little caloric dimension to that tired aspect too. I don't think I'm overtrained. I think it's more of a caloric thing, probably. Energy levels run a little low.
Bro, it was so fucking, yeah, so I don't take pain pills. So like, he, and my surgeon, he was like, hey man, you know, you need to take these pain pills, I take them. And I'm like, right. And I don't block wore off, bro.
And this gym that I built here pretty much has everything. The only limitations that I'm finding are the dumbbells. And if you buy basically from like 10 pounds a set of dumbbells all the way up from about 10 pounds to 100, I want to say it's like $3,000. Definitely didn't want to make that investment. From 15 pounds to 45, I got them at Dick's Sporting Goods, and it was like, let's say $500, $450 or like $550, somewhere in there. But I'm wanting to start doing a little bit more dumbbell work, especially with chest, and starting to hit the end of my capabilities, probably on that Bulgarian split squat where I got that dumbbell dangling. I might start making an investment in some dumbbells, the ones that have like the 10-pound plates, and you screw the the screws and caps on the end that you would see at typical gyms. So then I can interchange it maybe from like 50, 60, 70s, and just add a 10-pound dumbbell with a different handle. So get the handles and then get a bunch of 10s and then interchange them as I need them rather than just having a complete set. Complete set I'll have at one point in the future, but not gonna be right now. But I would like to have some sort of progressive weight that I can use on dumbbells. I'm hitting that block right now. We're gonna do our heavy set to failure. We're gonna go as many as we possibly can and call her good.
At that time, there was masking going on. And you guys all know how I feel about my masks. And I'm not doing it. Yeah. So none of the places that do an MRI or do surgery unless I have the mask. And wouldn't do it. So I finally found a guy who I know my life, who's a tremendous surgeon, who's like, yeah, fuck it. All right, cool. But that's until December. So there was 3 months, okay? So now during that 3 months, I'm deteriorating. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm eating clean. I'm training half my time. Training my legs.
Gonna drive home some quads here. So we do one little warm-up set and then a heavy set to failure.
But the point is that like, dude, that's a big mental job. And had it been me before, back in 2011 or 8 or 10 or whatever, I would have for sure. I would have sat on the couch. I would have ate shit. I would have ordered pizzas. I would have drank, and I would have been 350 for 3 months. And I would have said, oh, I will get this all off when I heal, when I can start training again. And instead of saying, oh, I'll start Monday, it would have been, I'll start in 6 months when I'm healthy. And it would have created a mountain that in my age might have been insulin burned, right? Because it's not like I'm like super young anymore, right? body, I'm physically young. And dude, I'm 44 years old. Like, this shit is not the same as it was when I was 24.
Right.
You know, so like that true, I believe, me doing that work of kind of injury, I think it saved my whole life.
Go back to so this is
Okay. I lied. Or spoke too soon, one of the two. Take it however you want. Those squats already got my legs and my quads warm. All this shit did, but those definitely put a big emphasis on the quads there. So this was gonna be a warm-up set, but I just drove it home as far as I could. Maybe could have got a couple more reps, but that's good enough for stimulation, that's for sure. I'm just gonna drive sets of singles, one set of single for each leg, and then be done with the workout. I had a guy in the comments, he was like, doing quads one time a week is weak sauce. Okay, you fucking genius. Good thing I'm not just doing them once a week then, huh? Good thing I'm doing them twice a week. Fucking bozo. But the thing is, actually, most people think that the more work you do, the more stimulation you're gonna get. But that's not always the case. I have found that less is more in the weight room and in a lot of different areas in life. I'm sure he mistakes me going in there and going hard, bro, giving it your all and going for a bunch of sets, and he's the guy that's slapping you on the back saying, let's go! Like, bro. And he wants you to do 10 sets of 20 fucking, and he equates a lot of volume and ego with getting results. And I'd be interested to see if his twice a week quad day, if it's actually producing the type of legs you actually want, or if it's just stroking his ego. Because more than likely it's just stroking his ego. I do them twice a week, but there's 5 days in between. So I mean, you're practically, I'm working on the 6th day, which it's about to roll over to once a week. So I'm right on the verge there of doing it twice a week and, once a week. Tom Platts, he said that he only did legs 2 times a month. And he's literally known for having the quads, some of the best quads up to date. They call him the quad father. So it's important to say and examine your routine and saying, is this actually doing what I want it to? Is this actually producing muscle growth? Can I see these gains in the mirror? And am I shoving my routine on everybody else and I actually don't know whether it works or not? What the fuck, dude? But I'd be interested, because if he's going with any sort of intensity and heavy weights, doing it twice a week, especially just 2 or 3 days in between, hell, my glutes are still sore on day 3 and 4. And if you are still sore, then obviously your body hasn't even compensated to the stress you put it under. So if I'm going to go in there and work at it again, now it wasn't even, it hadn't even coped with that stress yet. Now I'm just digging a deeper hole. And now it's going to take even longer for me to recover. And if I keep doing that, overtraining, I keep saying it, is what keeps you from growing. It's fucking stupid, dude. You can only grow after you've gotten sore, your body's coped, and then a day or 2 after that, you have the rebuild process actually kick in. And then you want to work out again. All right, we're going to do this 1 leg singles here. Drive just 1 home to failure on each leg, and then we'll call her quits.
And so for me, having to sit on the sidelines and watch all this shit deteriorate away, and watch my physical, which I had never been physically in that kind of shape before, bro. Like, I'm a fat, like my body is a natural endomorphic type physique. Like, I'm a fat dude by nature. I'm strong, I'm athletic, but I'm chubby. And, when they say husky genes, motherfucker, I want all the husky genes, okay? Like, I'm a husky dude. And, the thing is I had gotten to this point where I was like, dude,
Okay.
It's a year, it's almost 2 years. That whole time was just like I talk about test days on the MSU project, that was a life test that I passed. Okay, and the reason I decided to get up, and I'm happy about that, like, it's a big fucking win for me. The reason, it's probably the biggest win I've ever had in my life. Real talk. No, just getting through it at a time. Like, dude, it almost killed me 100 times. Like, you don't know. Even you don't know. Like, you don't even know. So, I decided at that point in July, taking Lexapro of 22.
shit. Okay, something that I just thought of is like whenever you're a newcomer, you're coming into the gym, and even after that, you're using a lot of different machines, and you get into it, and the thing is, it's like, is this on the right? You look at all the settings, it's like, is this the right setting? Like, what the hell? And the way to know if you're in the right setting is going to be the joint or the knuckle of the machine. See how this is the pivoting point? Well, it's for legs, so you want your knee in line with that joint. So they're working at the same angle. If you're out more or in more, you obviously are working at a weird mechanical angle. So you adjust the seat, adjust the leg stuff. If it's the pullover, you want your shoulder right in line with the shoulder joint of the machine. You know, on all your other movements, it's the same thing too. You want the joint or body part that you work in preacher curls, you're going to probably find that the joint of the preacher curl machine is going to need to be directly in line with the elbow. So it's lifting at the same mechanical tension and torque. I'm running late as fuck, bro. So anyways, that was day 96 of the spring cut. Did hamstrings, glutes, and quads for a full complete leg day. That being said, I really appreciate you guys who are following along with me, engaging with me in the comments. If you guys like the way that I break down the workouts and the way that I take you through them, I just ask you to please share, like, and subscribe. If you don't like them, that's cool too. Do report as friends. I've left my email in the About section of my YouTube page, so if you guys are looking for diet plans, get your macros right, workout regimens, or just all around like training advice, reach out to me, dude, and we'll set something up. I'm going to start extending some of my knowledge to you guys. But anyways, that was day 96, legs, and I will see you guys tomorrow for a shoulder workout. All right, peace.